idea for the album originated from a song I wrote called Death of a Cosmonaut. I was reading about some of the early space flights from the Soviet Union in the 1960s and how one of the space flights went wrong and the cosmonaut ended up not making it back through the atmosphere. While I was writing more songs, I kept thinking in the back of my mind about the cosmonaut. What was his story? What did he leave behind? What if he actually made it back? Most of the themes on the album centre around the idea of love and how love is an unseen force like infrared light or gravity. In the story, the cosmonaut tries to carry out his mission into the unknown, but is constantly set back by anomalous forces and events that are trying to bring him back to Earth. I wanted to use this as an allegory for love and how love can have this supernatural ability to alter someone's path. Some of the songs are written in the context of a memory or a dream. I was influenced by multiverse theory and the creative options it can offer to where the lyrics and the narrative takes place.
We have the power to control.
A lot of the album at the Tony Visconti studio in London during the downtime. It's a really big live room there, so there was a lot of room to experiment. The drums were recorded there, grand piano, guitars, organ, mellotron, horns, and some of the percussion like gongs and timpani drums.
If only songs were made in black and white.
I was really lucky to get some great musicians to play on the album, including some brass players, some string players, and some more unusual instruments like hammered dulcimer and theremin. I had in mind early on to create some soundscapes that go between the songs and help transition the narrative. I recorded different sounds and blended them together to create bigger sound effects. I recorded the sound of a boiling kettle, a hairdryer and a hoover, blended with an analog synth to create the sound of a spaceship taking off. I used an old tape voice recorder to create warped tape sounds, and I changed the speed of the tape to create different vocal effects.
Are you a believer of the multiverse theory?
I wanted to create the sound of a static radio transmission, so I bought the cheapest walkie-talkies I could find. I put one of the walkie-talkies in the studio, put a microphone on it, pressed record, and then I walked a mile out of the studio, spoke into the walkie-talkie,
Checks complete.
and then ran back to see what I got. One of the songs is about watching old movies, so I got an old Super 8 projector and recorded the mechanical sound of it whirring around and around. And then I put this sound at the start and at the end of the song to give it an atmosphere and a setting.
In East Berlin.
I started getting into analog synthesizers while I was writing the album. The first analog synth I got was a 1970s Yamaha CS10, but it didn't work and it needed to be fixed, so I had to learn to repair it myself. I started to get more synthesizers for cheap that needed to be fixed, so I'd repair them and then either keep them or sell them, and that's how I built up my synth collection that I have now. Mostly I record the synthesizers live onto the track, but sometimes I would record them in via MIDI and sequence it so I can play it back and then record the control changes. the idea of the album title, The Earth and Beyond, being this organisation like NASA. So I wanted the logo to be similar to a space patch like you would get on a jumpsuit. I worked with a graphic designer who worked through my ideas to create the artwork. One of the final designs got made into a patch, and then we took that and sewed it onto a jumpsuit and then took a photograph of it using a 35mm camera. And this is the album cover.